welcome back to Stamping at the Warren, and I'm Kim Tolton, and I am sharing with you today the new in colours, and we're going to be making a card. I'm going to be making a card for you with one of the, well, quite a few of the new products actually. But first of all, what I want to do is introduce you to the new in colours. Now, if you aren't familiar with Stampin' Up, all of their in colours are in sets. So they are sets of up to 10 ink pads depending on which colour collection, and each colour collection works really well with one another. They have very complementary and contrasting tones. But although there is 4 colour collections, there isn't always enough colours in there to fill in the gaps. So what Stampin' Up does, and to make sure that it remains on trend, is we get 2 in colour collections. Each in colour collection lasts 2 years and they overlap. So the outgoing colours this year are Blackberry Bliss, Tangelo Twist, Hello Honey, Mossy Meadow and Lost Lagoon. So they're the colours that we'll be losing this year. If you're lucky and you love those colours, you may still be able to get some cardstock or accessories, but I do know that the re-inkers have already run out. So these are the colours that will be replacing the outgoing in colours. And they are, drum roll please, sound like I'm at Stampin' Up convention now. So we have got Dapper Denim, we have got Emerald Envy, Flirty Flamingo, Peekaboo Peach and Sweet Sugar Plum. They're just so lush. They're what I feel about this time of year. They're all really fresh, very spring-like. Some work together really well, others not so well. But the main thing is that they all coordinate, and they coordinate with the other colour collections as well. And at some point, I will try to find the time to actually do some examples of colour combinations that you can use, not just with themselves, but also with the other colour collections that Stampin' Up offer. So those are the colours. Now, the card we're making today, I've got 2 examples here, exactly the same. So that we're making these cards today, or one of them anyway. And this features one of the new suites that is being offered in the new Stampin' Up catalogue. If you have already seen the existing spring summer seasonal catalogue or been on my online store, you will have already seen that there were a couple of suites on offer in there. Now, by suite, what I mean is previously Stampin' Up offered bundles. They still do offer bundles, but a bundle would be 1 or 2 products with a discount. With the suites, what they're doing, sometimes there is a bundle associated with the suite, not always. But what they're offering is more coordinating products. So in this suite, for example, which is called Affectionately Yours, there is cardstock that coordinates with the designer series papers, that coordinates with baker's twine, that coordinates with the ink pads, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to be using some of those products today. I'm also using some of the retiring products, so if you haven't already taken a look at the retiring products on my website, do so, because they are running out fast. And I'm also using current products as well. So let's get cracking. Put those to one side. So first of all, you want to make your card base, and that's using thicker Whisper White cardstock. And I've trimmed this to 30 centimetres by 10.5 centimetres, and then I've scored down the middle at 14.8, sorry. So I've scored at the middle at 14.8. Fold and burnish with your bone folder to give that nice crisp fold there. And then just pop that to one side, because the next step is involving inking, sponging. So I don't want to get everything messy. So first of all, you need a piece of the Irresistible cardstock, which is in the current seasonal, current annual catalogue. And I'm using Flirty Flamingo, and we're going to do an ombre effect. And an ombre effect just basically means, if you're not familiar with the term, it just means that the colour changes from dark to light or light to dark. And it's a graduated change in colour. Keep that in mind, because there is a very exciting product coming up in the new catalogue, and I can't wait to be able to order it. And that's all I'm saying on that matter. So what I do is I start with the ink at the bottom, work my way to the top. And this piece of cardstock measures 10.5 centimetres by 14.4 centimetres. So just go all the way up. I love messy fingers time. I love sponging. I find it really therapeutic. So that's a fairly even tone at the moment. So what I then start doing is adding more ink, and in a fairly irregular way working that up the cardstock. So what you end up with, some very light at the top and much darker at the bottom. And these are really juicy ink pads because they're brand new. So it's really easy to do. What you will find, because this is an irresistible paper, you just need to go over the top of that with a piece of kitchen towel, just to remove any residual ink, as you can see here. Okie doke, so now we can start our building. So first of all, you want 2 pieces of cardstock, one in Dapper Denim and the other in Flirty Flamingo. Both of these are measuring 10 centimetres by 5 centimetres, and we're going to use the triple banner punch. So just guide this through the widest of the guides, push it right home and punch, and you've got your banner end. Repeat that with the Flirty Flamingo piece. In it goes. Then here I've got a piece of the Affectionately Yours designer series paper, and it coordinates, you can see, with both of the cardstocks, and that's because this is a cardstock pack that comes coordinating with the paper. So this measures 8 centimetres by 2.5 centimetres. That just goes in through the smallest guide and punch. And there's your 3 banners. Just pop those to one side. You can keep all the little triangles, and that's fine. Right, so next we're just going to start building this. And I started with the navy because it's quite intense, that Dapper Denim. I used Fast Fuse. And I just pop that over towards the, slightly off centre towards the right. And because this is the triangle designer series paper, it's really easy to line it up. And then with the Flirty Flamingo, I'm going to pop 3 dimensionals on the back, just so it lifts the banner a little bit. You don't need more than that. These are wide and they're deep and they stick forever. So unlike most sticky fixers that sort of peel off almost as fast as you make the card. Right, so just overlap those banners, with this one being slightly up the card. And then with this little one, what you want is a bit of fast fuse down the side that's going to be here, and some Stampin' dimensional along here. So the easiest way to do that is to use a piece of the edge trim here. So you can use, I don't know if you can see that, but it's much thinner here. So you just trim a little piece of that off. I'll just remind myself which side needs it. So you just pop it on that side, peel it off, and then on this side just a little bit of fast fuse. If you get anything on your paper, just rub it off with your finger, it comes off really easily. And then that sort of overlaps both banners like that. Next you want a piece of Melon Mambo thicker baker's twine. This will be in the new catalogue, and it works really well, although it's a complete contrast because it's the same colour in the little flower. It works really well, and I love the thicker baker's twine. It gives a nice contrast that's different from ribbon. You can use ribbon. I've made this card before with ribbon. You want fairly long tails on this. Trim off the excess. And then this is just going to be popped down using a glue dot in the middle there. And it's just a little mini glue dot. And what I do is I just wrap it around so that it doesn't stick to everything else. Pop it down. Next you're going to do your sentiment, and for this I have used the Dapper Denim, which was in front of me here. The Dapper Denim, and the sentiment I'm using is from the And Many More stamp set. Great all-round stamp set. And because the ink pads are new, they're very juicy, so you need to ink off a little of ink off the stamp itself. So just to show you, if I go like this, oh, it's not going to do it. It has actually a little bit on the P and the G there, or the Y. What happens is it comes out more as a blob instead of being clean. If you stamp it again, you get a much cleaner image. So that's what we're going to do, and you just need a little piece of cardstock that measures 1.5 centimetres wide, and there's a reason for that. So stamp up your stamp, stamp off, bring your cardstock in, and stamp down. And the reason that I wanted it at 1.5 centimetres is so that it will fit through the banner punch, which is this dinky little punch here. It is retiring. Now I haven't checked today to see if it's actually sold out. All the products in the Stampin' Up retiring bin are going incredibly quickly, so if you want something you've got to order it when you see it, otherwise it will be gone. So I think pretty much all the cardstock and re-inkers for the outgoing ink colours, I believe, are gone, along with Flowering Flourishes I know have gone, so do check daily. Bit like Essex Radio with their prize drawer at the moment. I sort of say check daily or miss out. I'm just going to use a piece of fast fuse there, and you will notice I will use cardstock that I've stamped on before, but maybe didn't give me a clean cut or a clean image, so I just redo it again by turning over. Nice and resourceful. pop your sentiment along the bottom there. This can now go down onto your card front using Stampin' Dimensionals. So that goes down on your card front. And as we have done some use of the new ink pads, I am going to show you, before we do the die cut, I am going to show you, let's see if I've got one ink pad spare here that I can do it with. No, I'm going to grab one of the other ink pads. Right, so your ink pads, when they arrive, the ink colours, you can buy ink pad and cardstock bundles, and they really do save you a lot of money. You can also buy the ink pads separately. Obviously you've got to wait until the new catalogue comes out in June. But I just want to show you how the stamp sets come, or the ink pads come. So they come with a protective cover. Just remove that, and then if you turn it over, because what you'll see is the colour is swatches on the front here. The name of it is on the front here in different languages. And then if you turn it over, you'll see that there's another colour swatch here. And there will be a little sign here telling you to basically lift. Now when you lift that, what will happen is all the different colours, little labels come off, and of course the Flirty Flamingo one has stayed on. So what I do is I put those back down, the remaining ones, because sometimes I use those for other purposes. I pop those back on the back, and you want to turn it so the swatch is at the top, and turn it up, and you'll see across here, this is the ridge that you use as your thumb hold, and there's a section here that's slightly curved, and these are designed, these labels are designed to go along there, so that when your ink pad is laying flat in front of you or in its rack, you can see which colour you're using. Okay, so that's that done. Right, last job to be done is the butterfly. So we are using the butterfly thinlits, and I'm using this large detailed die that's in there, and this is the cardstock. I'm going to zoom you in because this cardstock, or it's not cardstock actually, it's decorative paper, but it's really thick. Because it's thick, it's one-sided, but it's foiled, and it's really heavily foiled, and the colour is copper. And the colours this pattern coordinates with a new embossing folder, and it also coordinates with the flower shop stamp sets and the small one, and the name's gone completely, but the small stamp set as well that goes. So this is the colour that is bang on trend. Okay, so we're going to see lots of hair, I'm sure, in bronze. So that is the colour, bronze stroke copper. And that's what we're going to make our butterfly from. And it gives this beautiful variegated look once it's die cut. So I'm just going to grab my big shot. I'm going to zoom you right out just so that I can get the big shot in shot. And my second cutting plate has fallen on the floor. I knew something went down. I heard something go bang, and because it's clear I didn't see what it was. There we go. Right, so your big shot. There is a new product coming in for the big shot, which I think you are going to love. It's going to make life a lot easier. So, basic sandwich for your big shot. Multi-purpose platform if you haven't got the magnetic one and you just want that with all the tabs closed at the bottom. Then you have your first acrylic cutting plate. Then you put your cardstock down with the image up, and then you put your die facing down, and you heard that go down with a click, and that's because the magnetic platform is there. That will hold it in place. If you're using a multi-purpose platform, you might need to use low-tack masking tape or post-it notes just to hold, or even washi tape, just to hold the dies in shape. Pop your second cutting plate in place, push forward, and you will feel the handle start to swing. Follow it, hold purchase on the top handle, and then you're just going to run it through the big shot a few times, just backwards and forwards a couple of times, and you will hear clunks and clicks, and they are all completely normal. That just tells you that the dies are cutting what you want them to be cutting. You then remove your die with the cardstock, flip it over, and you will see, so that's come straight off, look. So what you will see is the image of where the die cuts have been made. If any of those don't look like they've cut right through, just very carefully tip your die upside down like that, put it back down, run it through the big shot another couple of times. Sometimes takes a bit of practice to get used to cutting, die cutting. To get all those tiny little bits out, the easiest way is to hold one wing and you tap against the edge, and you will start to see all the little bits coming out, flying everywhere. I'm going to just brush them on the floor for the moment and I'll sweep up later. So you should be able to get most of them done like that. And what it also does is it will loosen up your paper so that you can remove it from the die really, really simply. If there's anything left in your die, just flick it again and they'll come out. Anything that's really resistant might need your paper piercing tool, but generally they'll come out. And it's the same, just check your die cut to make sure all of the little pieces have come out. If they haven't, just hold firmly and give a flick, and like there you'll see that they'll just pop out. And it saves a lot of time compared to when I was first doing die cutting. My goodness, not Stampin' Up products, I hasten to add, but they didn't stay still. They didn't cut through, and oh dear, you had to make your own shims just to get thickness, and yeah, but with the magnetic platform, life is so much easier. So one Stampin' dimensional down on the back of your butterfly. Just zoom you out a bit. No, wrong way. There you go. Then you can pop your butterfly on, just gently bring the wings up just to give a bit more dimension. Pop that on the front at a slight angle, and then your last thing is one of these gorgeous metal rimmed buttons, which are in the current annual catalogue. And you can find all of these products on my website, and you'll see a little information will come up telling you my web address for buying products, so my actual Demonstrator website. You can also find all the information on my blog, and there will be a full written or typed tutorial on there for today. and I'll make sure I get a picture of the new in colours on there so you can start looking at those. And there will also be a video from Telford, the Stampin' Up event I went to. I'm going to be sharing with you some products over the next week or so because I took part in the event as a stampers board. So I made 20 products for Stampin' Up as like a huge swap, if you like, but they were up on boards and on tables, and I wasn't the only one. There was a number of us that were doing them, and it meant that it gave demonstrators a huge range of products to view and get ideas for their own workshops, and it was great fun to participate in. Anyway, I'm blubbering now. So that's it for today. Don't forget to leave your comments in the comment section below today's video, and I'd also just remind you that all of my social media and contact details are in the show more section under today's video. I also post on Pinterest, and my blog obviously goes on Twitter, so all of my accounts are listed so you can follow me however you like. I love to see your products and your makes and all that sort of thing, so do send me photos and such like. If you want any advice, you can ask for advice. And just finally, because June is fast upon us, if you would like a free new annual catalogue when it goes live, for Stampin' Up obviously, and you live in the UK or you have someone with a UK postal address, just drop me a line and I'll put you onto my spreadsheet, and once the catalogues can go live and can be posted out to you, I'll send them off. And that's it for today. Thanks ever so much for watching. See you tomorrow. Bye.